before they claim that this is not about banning books and not about harming the LGBT community, let's just look at the impacts of similar Republican legislation that has already passed on the state level. Look at these books that have already been banned due to Republican measures.
So check out this clip of AOC absolutely demolishing this purely evil bill that Republicans are trying to push right now.
The life of Rosa Parks. This apparently is too woke by the Republican Party. Song of Solomon is unacceptable to Republican politics. 40% of banned books have reported are significantly addressing and specifically addressing LGBT issues. To say and talk about government reach and freedom, this Republican bill is asking the government to force the outing of LGBT people before they are ready. And talking about the rights of parents in this gallery today, the National Parents Union is here saying, don't do this. I have a letter that I'd like to submit where they are asking the Republican Party to keep culture wars out of classrooms.
So Republicans are trying to push through this right to know act for parents at a federal level, which not only puts in danger basic education for children when it comes to anything involving race or racism or queerness at all, it would also force the outing of queer students to their parents. And now we really need to address why that's a problem, because here's the thing. The only people that would really material affect are the children who are most in danger. Because think about it. If a child feels safe being themselves around their parents and telling their parents, then they would come out to their parents and they would tell their parents. But the reason why children might not tell their parents is because they might fear an abusive home. They might fear sometimes violence from their parents. They might fear getting kicked out of the house by their parents, or worse. And that is why a lot of kids just do not tell their parent, which means that the kids that are going to be affected by this bill predominantly are the ones who have the more abusive parents, the less accepting parents. And this is only going to serve to actively put children in danger, because right now to this very day, a huge percentage of homeless youth are homeless because their parents kick them out for being gay or trans. And we also need to understand that that's exactly the point. The whole point of this bill from Republicans is to create a sense of fear and terror, to force people back into the closet, and to specifically force children back into the closet. They are actively trying to create an environment of bullying on the side of the other students, and they are also actively trying to create more abusive situations. This is a bill that is very, very clearly pro-child abuse, because the real material impact of this bill will simply expose children to more abuse from their parents. And to say anything other than that about this bill is absolutely shameless and dishonest. There's no way around the fact that Republicans are pushing this bill with the explicit purpose and aim of harming queer children, which should be enough for most morally decent people to be against it. And guess what? Most people are against it. Above all else, the safety of children needs to be prioritized over any perceived right that parents have to know about what's going on in their children's lives. Because if there's a potential situation where children could be in danger from abusive parents, it is important to make sure that their situation is not made actively worse by teachers outing students to their parent. Now, obviously, we want to live in a world where every kid is perfectly comfortable telling their parents something like this, and parents will respond normally, but that is not the world that we live in. And Republicans know that. Basically, anybody that has any involvement in the education system and is a morally decent person is completely against this bill for the very obvious reason that if there is some sort of complicated situation that comes up with a student and there's a question as to whether or not their parent's going to be abusive, that needs to be handled at a case-by-case basis. And pushing a bill that's just a universal parental right to know act only empowers abusive parents, because parents who are thoughtful and actually care about their children are going to recognize that it is important for children to have a certain degree of privacy. That's not to say that parents should just never know anything about what's going on in their kids' lives, but it is deeply unhealthy for children to not have any privacy whatsoever. But unfortunately, a lot of right-wingers don't agree. They think that children should fundamentally be treated like property and should just be expected to do and say whatever the parents want them to. do. Instead of allowing their kids to be individuals, they want their children to just be models of whatever their parents want. And it's really disgusting because look, at the end of the day, children are not your property. They are your responsibility.